Welcome, everyone, to the MSG 150 Final. Great to have you with us. We come your way during the week after Knicks post games, except when the Knicks are on the West Coast, and we got a lot coming your way. The Warriors are in shambles. Joe Micheletti on the Rangers youth and the overall trend of young players in the NHL. The Mets have their man to run the team, and we're going to look ahead to the NFL Week 9. Great to have you with us as we say hello to Cam Smith, Julianne Viani, and Alan Hahn. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
Night off last night in the big city, and you're in his radio studio watching him do his radio show? You're supposed to listen to the radio. What are you watching?
My guy invited me out. I was up in the Upper West Side, and I wanted to see a master at work.
By the way,
he was doing his thing. I mean, come on, that's how you start the show, Bill?
First of all,
on a night off,
act like hanging out with me on my show, a little Han Solo action on ESPN Radio.
You can listen.
And you're telling me that that's not a good time? You're telling millions of New Yorkers listen to that show. It's not a good time.
I'm watching my guy handle business on the radio.
Night off in the big city.
Hey, I did other things. I enjoyed the city. I did other things.
The show's at 7. He was pregame.
You know the night doesn't start until like 12.
All right.
That's how you start the show. Come on, man.
All right,
Come
you're
on,
off
man.
the hook.
We're supposed to be a team, man.
All right, we got big stuff here in the NBA because the news today that Steph Curry has surgery on his hand. He's going to be out 3 months. Ooh. Not 1 month, not 2 months, 3 months. Everybody's saying, well, should the Warriors tank?
Yeah.
The reality is that tanking, they're not going to have to try to tank because they got nobody right now. And the reality is, even if they do, the number one pick, you only got a 14% chance to get.
Yeah, but still, like, this is setting up to be another San Antonio Spurs. And when they lost Robinson for the whole year.
Yeah.
And then
it's a blessing in disguise.
They couldn't
96, 97 that season around that. Yeah. Remember that? Yeah.
They were so bad. They didn't have the worst record in the league, but they won the lottery and they got Tim Duncan. And then just like that, they were right back there. You know, they not only were they a contender, but they ended up being obviously a champion and a dynasty. But for the Warriors, if you think about it, if Steph Curry's out for an extended period of time, when do they decide? Remember, the update's in 3 months.
What are they deciding?
The update's in 3 months.
What are they deciding? Right. I mean, fans say tank. They're not going to win any games.
Well, they can
not at all.
They're young players. I agree.
They don't have any young players. That's the worst part. Their young player is D'Angelo Russell.
They can give him the reins and see what he can do and develop those players without Curry.
If I'm D'Lo, I'm like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to be the focal point of the offense and really have no options because who else is he going to pass to?
Draymond Green is considered himself an all-star and max-level player.
A lot of pressure on him.
You're not telling me that Draymond Green can't step up and be a bigger player now for this team?
The guy that looks like he has a backpack on when he shoots a jump shot, that's the guy?
That's the guy? Player, though, isn't he? He's going to have to learn.
It's going to be interesting what happens there, but what's more interesting, I'm sorry to cut you off, what's more interesting is what's going to happen next year. Because if they get a lottery pick and then they get Curry back and Clay back, they'll have Draymond. How quickly do they just reset and reload?
Yeah. If these guys were able to rehab, I mean, Thompson's coming off an ACL. Steph Curry's a significant injury to his hand. All right, elsewhere, the last show we did on Wednesday, we showed everyone the fight. Joel Embiid and Karl Anthony Towns. Each gets 2 games. Do we think that's sufficient? And nothing for Ben Simmons with the chokehold on Anthony Towns. They said he was a peacemaker.
Yeah, I don't know how peacemaking falls into on top of a guy with your arm around him and choking him. So that was surprising. And Kat did tap out. So we're going to show that video. But this is a situation where you have guys. It wasn't really a fight. It was just more of a tussle. Like you got 2 big guys swinging and missing. And here's a fight. That's a tussle, Alan. Nobody landed any punches. But 2 games, I am surprised at that though, because we know that the NBA always tries to make example out of guys, and they want the league to have this good, clean image. Obviously, you know what happened in the past before with the Malice in the Palace, but it's one of those situations here where you would have thought that at least maybe 4 or 5 games for Joel Embiid, because after the scuffle, he's shadow boxing, he's inciting the crowd, as you see there. You know, that's fake toughness.
How could he not get more, guys? How could he not get more than Karl Anthony Towns?
Well, my problem with this whole thing was the escalation afterward. Everything that went on with the boxing, the social media, it went crazy. I'm actually a little surprised it was only 2 games, but at the same time, there have been suspensions in the past that I thought were over the top. So I'm in the middle there, because you don't want to be over the top with suspending these guys, but you don't want to create a bad narrative either if you're the NBA. But they'll be watching him, Embiid, quite a bit.
Yeah, but these two have a bit of a history.
Yeah.
And they play again March 23rd, I think.
24th.
24th. In Minnesota. So that's a game certainly keep an eye on.
All right, another theme here in the modern day NBA. as you continue to look at the scene from the other night, is the invention of this term load management. I don't know who in the world concocted the term load management, but it is synonymous with resting, obviously.
Yeah.
And the other night,
the opposite of what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
right, Kawhi Leonard did not play for Doc Rivers and the Clippers. Did I miss something?
No, they were certainly not resting.
That's not load management, what those guys were doing.
And Rivers is old school. He was asked, hey, back in your day, what would you have done with load management?
You know, in our day, if you missed anything, you know, they would label you. And so you didn't miss a minute in practice because you were scared to be labeled, you know. So it's just a different time. But I think it's a better time, personally. I'm one of the old school guys that think this new way is actually the right way of doing things. I really do. I think it's about health and for life health, too.
So Kawhi Leonard didn't play Wednesday, only played 60 games last year. My question to you guys, why not just shorten the regular season? If the players can't play 82 games. Well,
it's all about the money.
Cash rules everything around me, baby. That's what it is.
What good is it if you paid for a ticket and Kawhi Leonard is going to miss one of these 20 games?
Now, they did set up the rule in terms of the national games.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to sit the guys.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, they're going to sit out the stars.
But look, Doc is a player who can understand that he played a ton of games for Atlanta. Then he came to the Knicks. He played for the Clippers. Then he came to the Knicks.
Tore his knee.
And tore up his knee in a season where, the season before that, he was a major reason why they were able to have that season they did in '93. And really, his career wasn't the same after that. The Knicks moved on from him, obviously. And so, is he thinking to himself, if I would have cut back some of my minutes? But you just look at that. It's a different era, but it was also a different style. I think you're seeing a lot more pounding on joints now because players are way more athletic and explosive than they were back then. The game back then was getting above the rim, but it wasn't really above the rim.
And it's interesting you say that because those guys from that day say it was so much more physical.
Physically, yes, but I'm talking about pounding as far as landing.
You're right. I
seeing
agree.
Up and
so
down,
much more
running
of that.
transition, a lot of that.
A lot more. It's not half court. It's not
More
plodding like they say, right? Yeah, a lot more athleticism that was starting to come in then, but you didn't have it as much. Now you have it. Pretty much everybody plays that way. So I think there's something to that, and that's why I think Doc is telling you you don't want to be labeled soft, but you can understand why it does make sense right now.
And you look at Kawhi Leonard and the playoffs, the finals this season, and he had tendonitis in his knee, and they don't want to see him have any of those issues by the end of the season. So you're going to see Doc Rivers sitting him out from time to time. And not just him, the rest of the team.
It just
It
seems
worked out
weird.
for the Raptors last year. I mean,
1 week.
He played 60 games last year. He was fresh for the playoffs, and we all know what he did
look
in the
what
playoffs.
happened.
He just dominated. So
Our last hot topic concerns the Mets. They have their manager, one-time Met Carlos Beltran, left the team with some issues when he was traded to San Francisco. They hire him, and this is the trend. Bring back a former player who doesn't have necessarily any managerial experience. Yankees with Boone, Chicago Cubs do it with David Ross, and Beltran is the guy. I don't understand if you're the ownership of the Mets or the GM Van Wagenen. Okay, you've got a team that's on...
Boston did it with Alex Cora.
Right on the edge here, and now you have a guy that's got no experience. I just don't know. You're so close, and now you're going to have a guy that may take a while to figure out what he's going to do.
Aaron Boone never managed a game in his life. He was a broadcaster after he was a player.
But the Yankees more
Yankees are pretty good.
That Yankee team was a younger group now. I mean, that's similar to what the Mets were. They were a younger team, a younger core of players that they thought needed a manager. That Girardi's a great manager, but he was tough on some of the younger guys and more old school, and I think they were trying to get to the other side of it. Today's manager has to just manage people. He doesn't have to manage the game anymore because the binder, the stats, the analytics, that tells you the matchup, when to take the pitcher out, all those things. The numbers will dictate.
Callaway ruined his tenure by the way he managed his bullpen.
No.
Part of it's
it wasn't just the bullpen. It was the fact that he mismanaged. He handed in the wrong lineup card.
So are you saying that he didn't have the right? He misread the computer printout. The point is, you got to be able to run a game.
Yeah, but it's not.
And you're talking handling the younger generation.
Yeah, which I think actually Callaway did a good job. The guys on that team liked him a lot. I just think they need a little more of a presence and someone that a guy like Carlos Beltran. I actually covered him when he first came to the Mets. I went down to Port St. Lucie, did a story on him, and he's one of these guys that he can get along with anyone, and that's important. He understands anyone. He can connect to anyone's past, anyone's background, and you need managers like that in today's baseball. I mean, it's such a diverse sport now. So I do think it's a good hire, but there is a question to ask. With such a young team, would an experienced manager work better? We'll find out.